Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, September 25th, 2024. Steve Sipress here. Officially, we are past the summer, but here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area of Arizona, I saw this morning on the news, didn't check since, but supposedly the high temperature today at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, where bizarrely they choose to measure the temperature and the rainfall, even though nobody lives anywhere near there. But I digress. The forecast was for temperature, I think, 110 degrees. So definitely up here in the mountains here, it's always about 5, 6, 7 degrees cooler, but definitely got up well over 100 degrees. We enjoy here in dry heat. We just enjoy days like this. It's spectacular. Hope it's great wherever you are. And here, these kind of temps, not quite this high, but, high 90s, 100, 95 or so. These will continue right up through the end of October. We have a saying here in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, summer ends at Halloween. Whereas the rest of the country up north where I lived most of my life, the summer unofficially ended around Labor Day. So about a 2-month difference. So we love it here and hope it's fantastic wherever you are as well. So 96 years ago yesterday was the founding of the company that would become the first to mass produce car radios. A guy by the name of Paul Galvin started the Galvin manufacturing company. Him and a partner, they went bankrupt a couple of times in the 1920s. They were making batteries, and that wasn't working out for them. But then this Galvin guy realized that Henry Ford was mass producing automobiles and completely changing America forever and creating freedom for so many people, but the cars didn't have radios in them, and he knew that if he could find a way to get a radio they could go into every car cheaply enough, he could be wealthy beyond compare. And so they used their battery technology to create a car radio. Unfortunately, it was very expensive. So a few years later, as the story goes, he brought on a couple engineers, and they were able to cheaply enough create a car radio, and then they were off to the races mass producing this thing. Now, later on, one of those engineers, by the way, became the inventor of the 8-track. So his mind was on music in cars, and he then created the car tape system known as the 8-track that soon became standard equipment. And when I was a teenager, it was pretty much in every single car had 8 tracks. And so this corporation, the name of the car radio, I gave a little hint in the title to today's message that the title of the corporation includes the word motor for the motor car that would have the mass-produced car radios, and a word taken from Victrola, which was an old music phonograph type of apparatus. So he called it Motorola. And so Motorola, first company to mass-produce car radios. They continued to do that well up into, I think, the 1990s. And now, of course, they no longer produce car radios, but they are one of the top manufacturers of cell phones in the world. So the lesson here is that Paul Galvin knew, as entrepreneurs, either you've been taught this or you just intrinsically know that all the money in a business is made in innovation. Innovation in marketing, actually. The top business consultant in the world, history of the world, Peter Drucker, famously said, or maybe you haven't heard it, but I talk about it all the time. He said, business is marketing and innovation. Everything else is cost. So if you're going to make money in your business, and hopefully you are, and hopefully you make lots of it, that's going to come from either marketing or innovation, or hopefully both. And then everything else you do is just a cost to support that business. But no matter how well you serve people with a product or service, you're not going to create a highly successful business. You're certainly not going to get rich or wealthy unless you get really good at marketing and or innovation, ideally both. So these guys, they were real good at innovation. And these original guys, another lesson here, they were not able to figure out how to mass produce these car radios, but they went out and hired people that were really good at understanding this technology and implementing their battery technology into car radios. And so the lesson to me, I mean, that's similar to me. All my business I've had my whole life, dozens and dozens, I've always known, I've always lived by. I got to do marketing, I got to do innovation. Otherwise, no matter how good a product or service you have, you can't get wealthy unless you get really good at marketing and tech and innovation. And so I've always made sure to use state-of-the-art innovation and technology in all my businesses, although I am well known, if you know me, not to be a hands-on tech guy, a programmer, or a guy who knows how to make stuff work. But I have always employed the right people, the right software, the right tools to make sure that all my businesses are providing cutting-edge technology, and pair that up with marketing. I mean, these guys, once they were able to get that car radio that could be mass produced, well, I think the story goes he drove a car 800 miles over to some auto show where all the big auto people were, and just parked it right outside as everyone was going in and cranked up the music, and boom, people were like, what's that? Car radio. Ooh, how much? Oh, that little? Oh, up, boom, bang, bang, off to the races. So that's a form of marketing, getting the word out. So you got to do both if you're really going to make it big. And all I can think of now is that's going on right now. Technology has never been more available to all business owners, professionals, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs anyway. It's called AI. And there are over 15,000 AI tools. And then the combinations of using 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in combination makes endless number of different combinations and different systems you can put into use. And that's how you're going to innovate and stay way ahead of your competition and make more money than you ever have before. And I can tell you from my personal life and experience right now, working less and certainly less hard than you ever have. I mean, I find myself exhausted at the end of days, but not because I've been doing a lot of work, because I've been doing a lot of high-level work. So if you've ever been in like a high-level mastermind, which I've run high-level masterminds, groups of business owners, high-level, getting together and sharing ideas and solving problems with each other. A mastermind meeting, one of my masterminds I run now, we meet for just a 2-hour session every month. And at the end of it, I always ask at the end, hey, what was your biggest takeaway? And it's like, well, I don't even remember the first couple of people that brought up their situations. It seems like a long time ago, like 2 hours of nonstop concentrating on problems, goals, solutions, coming up with ideas, listening to other people's ideas, thinking about how you could apply that to your businesses. Man, it leaves you mentally exhausted. Well, that's what's happening now thanks to AI. AI, when you put the right systems into place and use the right tools, is taking away all of the menial, repetitive, boring tasks. Maybe not all. Sometimes it can take away half of it, sometimes 80% of it, for very little cost. Maybe a human being has to get involved here or there, but man, so much is just getting done that I myself, my team members, my clients that we're helping, that I'm talking to all the time, are really getting themselves and their employees to function at a much higher level, casting visions, innovating, thinking of new ideas, new strategies, because all of the regular work of a business in every area of the business is, when you do it right, can be pretty much partially, mostly, or completely done thanks to AI. And if you want to know more about this, I got a free video on my website, aigrowthwizards.com. That's my company. And again, I am not the AI wizard. I'm the wizard at consulting with professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and just having a discussion and trying to figure out if there could possibly be a way to implement AI into some of the workflows you're using in your business, you or your staff, so they or you just don't have to do that stuff anymore, and they can do much higher level stuff. You can do much higher level stuff. People can really just enjoy their life a lot more. So we're not, looking for the doom and gloomers that think AI is going to replace people. No, no, no. I mean, maybe somewhere way in the future, but AI assisted workers are running circles around workers that are having to do things themselves that they can't stand, that they hate. Everyone has that stuff. Highly recommend you look into AI so you no longer have that stuff. And then you'll be thinking like Paul Gavin and these guys did over 100 years ago, like, man, I got to find a way to innovate because then I can become wealthy. Well, now AI has hit the scene and you can use AI. Do you have to? Of course not. I just saw a recent study said only 2% of companies are fully using AI to its full capability. So obviously, 98% of businesses are not going out of business because they're not fully using AI. So do you have to use it? No. But what an opportunity to vault yourself into the top 2%, and maybe in your area or in your industry, you might be the only one fully using AI. Your clients, your customers, your patients will absolutely love you, your employees. You'll love yourself. Your family will be seeing more of you. You'll be less stressed, be less miserable because you won't be having to do stuff you can't stand. It'll all be done better. It'll be done faster. It'll be done cheaper. No mistakes being made. You can get so much more done to create so much more profit, more power. In your business, I highly recommend you at least check into it. If not, implement it immediately as well as you can, which is what I highly recommend if it's possible. But at least to check into it, and I'm available for consultations that my partners, before I partner up with them, and they still have an arm of their business where they charge money to do these consultations. But I love small business owners. I'm sure you know that if you've been with me for any amount of time. So I'm not charging for these consultations. So go to my website, aigrowthwizards.com, get on my calendar, and we'll have a talk, and we'll just see what the possibilities might be for your business and for your life. And hopefully you'll be pleasantly amazed at the difference it makes if you do implement this stuff. I know your employees will be. I know your customers, clients, patients, members will be. So I highly recommend that. And Ron is here. And Ron says Motorola made that radio. There you go. I'm guessing he put that in before I said the answer. So Ron guessed the answer. And he says 25 or so years later, their two-way police unit made Broderick Crawford a star. Way to go. Man, bringing back the memories. And then not only had Broderick Crawford, but then they had like the Adam 12. Then they had the CB radio thing, Breaker, and Smoking the Bandit. Like, yeah, all this kind of car technology stuff. Made a lot of money for a lot of people and improved a lot of lives and created a lot of entertainment and all that kind of good stuff. So a little late to be inventing the car radio, but you can certainly be a leader in your industry or in your area by implementing AI tools. And that's a lot easier than having to invent a mass-produced car radio or a two-way police unit or the 8-track player for cars. Come on now, all these AI tools are out there. You just have to figure out how to use them. And whether you want me to help you do that or not to actually implement them, that's another story for another day. We can have that talk if you want, but I do an initial talk just to kind of explore it a little bit, point you in the right direction, and give you something to think about, or if you're really ready, give you something to take action on right away, which I do highly recommend. And that's enough. Thank you, Ron, and everyone else here. Thanks, everyone watching on the replay. The sun is setting in the west. I'm heading in to hang out with my beautiful wife, Michelle, for the evening. Thanks for being here today, and I will catch you back here again tomorrow on Foundation Friday. Catch you then. Bye-bye.